So let's turn around and say hi to the streamers. Welcome. Woo! This is going to be an awesome weekend. I did not get to see, you guys can sit down. I didn't get to see how many of you are at a live event for the first time. How many of you, including those that were at our little workshop yesterday, how many first time? Look around, you guys. Whenever I see that, that just makes me so excited because I never, ever, ever will forget the first day I attended a Bob Proctor seminar. I mean, I know exactly where I was sitting, right about where you are. I know exactly how I was feeling when Bob walked out on stage. I didn't even know it was going to be a Bob Proctor seminar. I thought it was just going to be a leadership seminar, which I went to all the time. And Bob walks out on stage. I love that video. Wasn't that a great video? Yeah. I want you to think of that. 58 years. All Bob has been doing is trying to help people realize who they are and get the results that they want. And when I was in that seminar, I was blown away. Like, I hope you feel this weekend, I hope you feel it today, where your head's chopped off and shaken all around and you stick it back on and you're like, what's up, what's down, what do I believe, what don't I believe, what is possible for me? And you really start thinking big. Because I'll tell you what, huge transformations happen at this event. And if you've watched us live, or if you've watched us on video like on YouTube, that's awesome. If you've gone through digital programs, that's awesome. But being here live and being with everyone in this room is so powerful, it's hard to even put to words. So what I would ask you to do is sit back, make a promise to yourself you're going to play full out this weekend. I remember Bob asked us to do stuff which I thought was really silly, and I didn't want to do it. And I just suspended disbelief, and I agreed to do what he was saying because I liked the results that he got in life. I liked the team he had surrounding him. I loved the work that he was doing. I was fascinated with it. And so I decided, just like he did with Earl Nightingale, he said, I'm going to do exactly what he tells me to do until I find out he doesn't know what he's talking about. And he never found that out, and I never found it out with Bob, and it's done really well for me. So do that. Suspend disbelief, play full out, get to know everybody in the room. And you know, creativity is the opposite of routine, so do things differently. I mean, silly things, like wear your hair differently than you normally would. You know, like, Hugh, spike your hair tomorrow. He's like, no, not gonna happen. You know, wear something different. Sit next to somebody different. Go, if you're not used to walking up and just saying, hey, I'm Sandy. Stick your hand out. Meet someone new. Even if it scares you, just do things different than you normally do. And I want you to walk away here Sunday afternoon and just thank God that you have had a big transformation in your life, because those transformations can happen in a heartbeat. They do happen in a heartbeat. You just need to be open to it. All right? So now I'm going to hand it over to Bob, and then I'll be back with you in a little bit. Let's stand up and give a big hand for Bob Proctor.
Thank you. That's good. Thank you. The paradigm shift, as you'll see on the screen, is a resourceful environment where people from around the world collaborate, mastermind, and explore opportunities for developing financial independence by setting up multiple sources of income. A long time ago, I learned that you and I have a program deep in our psyche. And most of us are not aware of the program. We're not aware that it even exists. We're not aware, of course, then how it was built and the role that it plays in our life. I'm quite certain that every one of you can relate to this. When I was a little boy, my mother would say, "Why did you do that?" I'd say, "I don't know." She'd say, "What do you mean you don't know? You know better." "I know." "Why'd you do it?" "I don't know." I went into the Canadian Navy. They weren't quite like my mother. "Proctor." "Yes, sir." "Why'd you do that?" "I don't know, sir." "You know better?" "I know." "Why'd you do it?" "I don't know." and then they'd punish you, fine you, out in the parade square, run with a rifle or something. We're asked, why did you do that? We don't know why we did it. We know better. We know we didn't have to do it. We didn't want to do it, and we do it anyway. Now, it's a strange thing that a high percentage of all people walking on the planet are going through that. They know how to live the way they want to live. They know how to treat people the way they should treat people. But that doesn't mean they're going to do it. In most cases, they don't do it. And that's rather sad because they want to. So what they're doing, they're working with an unseen enemy that's programmed right into their mind. Now, the strange part about this, we didn't build this program, someone else built it. But we're responsible for changing it. It was built genetically. That's why you look so much like your relatives. When I was a young guy, I had red hair. And my mother didn't have red hair. My father didn't have red hair. I have a brother and a sister. Neither one of them had red hair, which could lead to all kinds of speculation, couldn't it? However, my mother's father and all his brothers had red hair. Sometimes it'll jump one generation, come out in another one. But it's not just the color of your hair or the shape or the form of your body. It's your behavioral patterns. And they're passed down from one generation to another. Do you know that almost all welfare recipients are third, fourth, fifth generation welfare recipients? Oh, yeah. People are creatures of habit. Way back in the late 30s, Albert E. N. Gray was the secretary to Prudential Insurance. And he wrote an article, he wrote a talk, it was a great talk. I carried it with me for years. The common denominator of success. And he said the common denominator of success was in forming the habit of doing things failures don't like to do. Now think of that. The common denominator of success is forming the habit of doing things failures don't like to do. Well, you know, a young guy asked him one time why successful people stop doing the things. And he told them they learned how to do it, and they changed it. And that's really what this paradigm shift is all about. Let's think of what a paradigm is for a moment, because it's mighty important. A paradigm is a mental program that has almost exclusive control over our habitual behavior. Now think, it's a mental program that has almost exclusive control over our habitual behavior, and almost all of our behavior is habitual. I went along until I was 26, going in the wrong direction, picking up speed. And all of a sudden, just like that, I stopped and I went in the other direction. My income went from $4,000 a year to $14,500 a month within a year. No formal education, no business experience. Bang, just like that it happened. It wasn't an accident. I was following the direction of an individual that came into my life. He gave me this book, Think and Grow Rich, and he said, if you'll read this every day, he said, the man that wrote it spent his entire life putting it together. And he said, I think it would be a very prudent move on your part if you spent the rest of your life trying to understand and apply what he wrote. And then he said, if you'll do exactly what I tell you until you find out I'm lying or I don't know what I'm talking about. Now, I had never done that. I was, I guess what you'd call a bad kid. Not really bad, but bad. I wouldn't do what I was told. I wouldn't go to school. I had a brother and sister that lived a pretty straight life. I was always getting in trouble. Now, as I look back, I was probably screaming for attention, but I was always getting in trouble. And I wouldn't do it. I absolutely resented any kind of authority. But all of a sudden, this guy said, if you do exactly what... Now, then he said, listen, your way's not working, mine is. Why don't you do what I'm telling you? Now, I was always broke. At that time, you could buy 2 gallons of gas, or 5 gallons of gas for $2. I was forever trying to hit somebody up for a couple of dollars for gas. I was not a happy guy. And so the way he said it made sense. Your way's not working, why don't you try mine? He said, you can have anything you want. I didn't believe that. How could I believe that? It was like Jack and the Beanstalk or the Tooth Fairy or something. I just couldn't buy it. But there was something, I guess, by the way he said it. I've thought about this so many times. Why did I buy into it? And I don't really know because it's looking back a long ways, but I guess maybe it was the way he said it. I once heard, when you hear the truth, you'll know it. The truth resonates with the essence of who you are. There's perfection within every one of us. And when you hear the truth, it resonates with that perfection within us. And that's probably what happened. So unconsciously, I had something in me telling me this guy knew what he was talking about. And so I started to do exactly what he said. I was mentioning last night at dinner that I formed a habit of doing that. And when I went to the next mentor, I had him for a mentor for quite a long time. And when I went to the next one, it wasn't that he was telling me so much. I observed what he was doing, and I would start doing what he was doing. I watched what he was reading, and I would start reading what he's reading. Now, I've had 6 or 7 actually, mentors in my life, and I've always done exactly what they told me. And you know, it's worked like unadulterated magic. Now, they didn't tell me what time to eat or what time to go to bed, but there were certain things they did tell me, and I would do exactly what they said. And everything in my life turned around. When you go from struggling, I was 26 at $4,000 a year, and in under 5 years, I was up over $1 million. I started cleaning offices to earn a couple of dollars, extra dollars. I ended up cleaning offices in Toronto, Montreal, Boston, Cleveland, Atlanta, London, England. Everything, and I had no idea what I was doing. Absolutely none. I was what you call an unconscious competent. Now, I found that most successful people are unconscious competents. They cannot articulate on why they're successful. They really don't know. And because they don't know, they've got something that's non-transferable. They can't give it to their own children. They can't give it to the staff if they have a company. Most highly successful people cannot articulate on why they're highly successful. They do not know. They don't understand paradigms. They really don't. And so it's non-transferable. Now, this shocked me. But I found in going into companies that some of the people at the top didn't know why they were at the top. Some of them didn't belong at the top anyway, but they, you know, that was the deal. And so one day I broke it all down and I went out and studied and I figured out how to put it together. And when I got the dots to connect, all I wanted to do was teach it to other people. I have learned one thing very, very well. You are not going to go very far on your own. If you don't have the help of other people, you're not going to go very far. Our company is doing extremely well, but we've got phenomenal staff. I wouldn't trade anybody that we've got in our company. We just a phenomenal group of people. Now, I learned something last night. All successful people have high energy. We'll talk about that a little later. I had high energy. And I could make things happen. Man, I was cutting a path and all kinds of business. But we never had any money. I'd earn millions and there would be no money. About 13 years ago, Sandy Gallagher came to a seminar. And one thing led to another, and she ended up being a business partner with me. A 50-50 deal. And I'm going to tell you, she changed this company like night and day. Now, I've always done very well. I've had business all over the world. I've got the confidence of some of the largest companies in the world that we work for. We've always done very well. But we never ended up with any money. And because we didn't have any money, we couldn't enjoy the growth that we should have enjoyed. That takes money. And when she came to the seminar, and then she became the partner, she said, "You got to do exactly what I say." Now, she's not very big. But I said, okay, I'll do it. And I'm going to tell you, there's times when it was very difficult to do, very difficult. It wasn't easy at all. But I've done it. I've supported her 100%. And of course, it got easier because things got better. But we are enjoying tremendous success today, and because of that, we're reaching an awful lot more people. If you're sitting at home or sitting in your office watching this, it's because the company did change. And because it changed, we were able to now do what we're doing with streaming. We're into all kinds of countries all over the world. There's thousands of people that are not in this room, but they're going to enjoy the seminar just the same as if you were in this room. And I want to welcome you, and I want to thank you for tuning in to us. And you're going to end up thanking us because this is phenomenal information. Now, I've often mentioned I've got license to brag about all the ideas I use because none of them are mine. I did not originate this information. I was just a very curious guy. And I've never lost my curiosity. I've never stopped studying. I love studying. And we're all the beneficiary of that.
I hope you enjoyed this video. We put a lot of good information up here, and it causes everything in your life to get better. If you'd like us to notify you every time we put a new video up, hit subscribe and then turn on notification. Check out all our videos, and we will notify you when we put a new one up.